Hello everyone from Adventure and Tech Runs. I hope you guys are doing okay. So today I will be just doing a camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A35 and Z Fold 6, and we'll see how it performs. Right now both are recording in the Ultra HD at 30 fps. So I will just try to focus on the common points that both have in terms of the camera capabilities, and we'll just stick to those. Like obviously the Galaxy Z Fold 6 can record in Ultra HD in 60 fps, but the Galaxy A35 has the limitation of up to 30 fps and 4K. So I'll just stick to the common points and we'll just go ahead and see. So right now I'm just walking. You guys can see how the colors looks like on both. Now I'm shooting with the ultra wide lens of both cameras, and you guys can see how wide both are and how they perform. Now it's a bit challenging, and you guys can see how the dynamic range is being processed on both. The sun is at the back. You guys can see the sharpness and the colors, how these pop out on the main lens. Sun is again at the back. Obviously I can see the Z Fold 6 is doing better here. Let's see. So you can see in the zoom test, like obviously uh, you can see how these both performs. So zoom is not that bad. Just the first time the zoom on the A35 is stuck a little bit. Now we are walking against sun. We'll just try to keep sun in focus, and we'll see how the dynamic range in video performs on both phones. So you guys can see the night time footage video quality of both the cameras. So if we talk about this picture, so it was taken from the 2x zoom, and on the left we have the A35 and on the right we have the Galaxy Z Fold 6. And with the immediate look, like I cannot see much difference in both. However, I can see like the colors on the Z Fold 6 are a bit popping, like the grass looks much greener. But nevertheless, like both are great pictures in terms of both stand at the same point, and there's not much difference that I can just find in both. Now this picture has been taken from the ultra wide lens of both cameras. On the left we have the A35, on the right we have the Z Fold 6 again. So generally speaking, the colors are again very popping and picture looks much appealing on the Z Fold 6, and it's a bit sharper than what the A35 have. If we look far behind those trees, so those are looking much more sharper. The picture on the A35 looks much more muted in terms of the color. And overall I like the colors on the Z Fold 6 in this picture. Now we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and the A35 on the left, and I can see that the tree has been very well captured by both of the cameras. However, this was taken in the portrait mode, and I can see a little bit of the roots on the top. You can see just to the right of the tree, there's just not captured very well on the and on the A35, and it's struggling a little bit to just take them into out of focus and make the tree a main focus. However, the Z Fold 6 did well in that part. Other than that, like, both pictures look pretty great. Now here we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and the A35 on the left, and I was just taking this picture from the portrait mode of both cameras, and both did pretty bad job in this one. However, the Z Fold 6 did a little bit better job here because I was just trying to focus on the front portion of the root. So yeah, so the A35, I think it didn't do anything. It just took it as a normal picture and just struggling a lot. However, both are struggling a lot. I didn't like both pictures, but yeah, but Z Fold 6 try to capture a little bit much more better here. Now we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and the A35 on the left, and this picture has been taken from the main lens of both cameras. Now one thing I'm noticing over here, like, the picture looks very similar in terms of the sharpness, and the dynamic range of both pictures are very similar. Like, it's very hard to find the differences. Probably the Z Fold 6 is a little bit like making picture a little bit more saturated, while the A35 was kind of kept on the very sweet spot, like it's not too much saturated, and everything looks very nice and natural on the A35. So that's basically kind of a color processing issue. So like, it depends upon which one do you prefer. If you want to have like more saturated one, you can go for the Z Fold 6. If you like a little bit of the muted colors, you can just go ahead with the A35 if we are just considering the main camera on both devices. Now we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and A35 on the left, and here I've tried to take the 10x zoom picture over here. So both are digitally cropped pictures. On the left we can see like the A35 picture is pretty much not usable. On the Z Fold 6, either way I didn't like much as well, but however it's much more better and sharper than what the A35 has to offer. And here I can see like the Z Fold 6 have made use of its 3x optical zoom, where it has an edge in terms of zooming, and so it's a little bit digitally less cropped than what the A35 is. So yeah, so in this case the Z Fold 6 would be my preference. Now here we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and the A35 on the left, and again this picture has been taken from the main lens of both cameras, and I can clearly see like again like both pictures look very similar in terms of dynamic range and the sharpness. However, the Z Fold 6 again went with a much more saturated look, and the A35 went with the muted colors. So yeah, I suppose like both are pretty much similar in terms of how they're just processing everything in except the color. Now we have the Z Fold 6 on the right and the A35 on the left, and I can say like both pictures look very similar. However, if we see the tree on the Z Fold 6, so it has been slightly captured a little better than the A35 in terms of the exposure of the tree was well maintained, and the it looks a little bit brighter on the Z Fold 6 here. Now this picture has been taken from the main lens of both cameras, and on the right we have the Z Fold 6 again and A35 on the left, and from the immediately looking at both pictures, I was unable to find any difference in both of these pictures. Again it's just like the color differences, like slightly Z Fold 6 went with the oversaturated colors, and however the colors are already saturated on the A35 in this picture, but both looks very similar, like in terms of the general look of the picture. Now this picture has been taken with the main lens of both cameras. On the right we have the Z46, on the left we have the A35, and I was just trying to focus on the that flower on the uh, front, and A35 did a very well job on this one. However, the Z46 went with the opposite approach, and it did a focus on the behind that flower that I was just trying to focus. However, generally speaking, both pictures are like in terms of the difference, it's just of the contrast difference. But yeah, Z46 just did the opposite of what the A35 did. So yeah. Now this picture has been taken from the ultra wide lens of both cameras. On the right we have the Z46 and on the left we have the A35. I can see the picture look very similar, like it's very hard to find the difference in terms of the sharpness, and only difference that I can find, like Z46 is consistently making picture a little bit more saturated than the A35, and that's the only difference, and that depends upon the preference, like what colors do you guys like in this one. Now this shot has been taken from the ultra wide camera of both the phones, and we can see, like on the right we have the Z46, on the left we have the A35 again, and the Z46 camera ultra wide is a little bit wider than what the A35 has, and if we see the area lit around the sun, so Z46 have performed better in that regard, and the A35 did a bit just struggle there with the dynamic range over there. However, like generally the tree looks very similar in both pictures, and yeah, but Z46 did a little bit better. Now this picture has been taken from the main lens of both cameras. On the right we have the Z46 and on the left we have the A35, and generally speaking, overall by look I like the picture of the A35, which is really surprising to me. Like it has captured the tree with much sharpness, and I don't know what happened to the Z46, like it was just struggling uh, of getting the tree into focus because it was a windy day, so probably that could be the reason. But yeah, A35 performed really well in terms of general sharpness and everything, and colors, so looks much more nicer over there. And yeah, so I would just give this one to the A35. Now we have the Z46 on the right and the A35 on the left, and we can see like the picture looks very similar in both scenarios, and this picture has been taken from the main camera of both phones, and there is a little bit saturation on the Z Fold 6 side, which is like being consistent throughout this test that I was noticing. While this shot was being taken at night, it was a snowy day, so obviously it's a little bit brighter side. So yeah, I would just give this one a tie between both. Now it's again one more night shot, and Z46 on the right and A35 on the left. Again, I was unable to find any difference in between both the shots. Where it's wearing the fountain tire, I can find little bit like slightly dynamic range was being well captured on the Z46, and that's it. Like overall the picture looks very similar on both phones. Now it's another night shot from the main camera of both phones, Z46 on the right and the A35 on the left, and the picture is very similar in terms of the color production, and the like overall it looks like the picture has been taken from same camera. I couldn't find any difference in this one. Now this picture has been taken from the wide angle lenses of both phones, and it's a night shot. I like slightly better picture on the A35 on the left in terms of the colors and overall look. It went with a little bit of a warmer tone, while the Z46 went with a little bit of a bluish tint towards the picture in this one. However, once I just zoomed in a little bit, so I could notice like the Z46 was able to capture a little bit sharper picture than the A35, but like without zooming it's very hard to find the difference in between both, except that the A35 is a little bit warmer side. Now we have the Z46 on the right and the A35 on the left, and I can see like towards the street lights, if we see, so both have just done poorly in terms of the balance, and if we come down and we see, so pictures looks very similar in both cases. However, the Z46 again just made a little bit saturated, like in most of the cases. So that's all for today. So I hope you guys like the video, and please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.